gonna beat your ass if you don't leave me alone. That's where we're going.
Okay, so where we're going, I don't think anybody knows where they're going right now. I think they're just marching all over town.
Well, it was believed there was going to be a curfew last night from midnight to 6 a.m., and Judge Jeanine Pirro joins us right now. What do you make of, as it turns out, the curfew was not enforced. As long as everybody was peaceful, they could stick around a bit.
Right. Last night was more about protests than it was about riots. I mean, but I think that what the police have done is they've made a decision that we're going to try to be as low-key here as possible so that it doesn't appear that there is this fight going on, and although it was horrific. What happened on Wednesday night was horrific. I think all Americans needed to take stock of the rioters. I mean, these were not protesters. They were rioters. They were people who were tearing the fabric of our community apart. They were anarchists.
There were a lot of out-of-town agitators. The cops say down there 70% of the people they arrested had out-of-town ID.
Right. Is that any surprise? I mean, what these people do is they go around the country to make trouble. And it's the people in the community who suffer. The African-American community. The African Americans who were victims of their own crime, of black-on-black crime. And what they're doing now is they're disrupting a society, and they're disrupting the peaceful society that people want, and they're creating their own narrative.
Judge, what are they protesting? Because in the beginning, remember, it was Black Lives Matter. They felt like black people were getting killed by white cops. But here in Charlotte, it's a black officer.
It's a black cop, a black person who was shot. What they want is just to make trouble. You see, they need this narrative for the election. This is all about the election. Black Lives Matter and this whole movement funded by Soros is all about the Democratic election, giving the Democrats some reason to join together to come out and vote for the Democratic Party. It's why these illegals who were supposed to be deported were given citizenship. It's why there is this movement to get people to vote and sign up to be citizens. That's what's going on right now. It's all about the election.
Judge, what could be the reason why the body cam camera and the dash cam camera video is not out? What could be the reason there?
Well, the reason that it's not out, first, Brian, think about the fact. You've got the DA's office, you've got the State Bureau of Investigation, you've got the DOJ, the FBI, and Internal Affairs. That's a minimum of 5 law enforcement organizations or agencies looking at this case. There will be a grand jury investigation as sure as I'm sitting here right now. I've done these cases. The one thing you don't want is to get the evidence out so people start tailoring their testimony to what they think they see in the video, or someone putting themselves in the situation. The video will then make it clear what happened. If some person comes out and says, I saw this. Well, the video doesn't show that. It's a truth-telling system where we can say who's telling the truth and who isn't. And by the way, the law is clear. They passed a law saying October 1, you cannot get this without a court order. There's a reason for that.
Well, we're not up to October 1st, so we're going to talk to the governor about that in a little bit. But first, you mentioned the election. Hillary Clinton not doing well with millennials. And you look at the four-way races, Gary Johnson's got 10% pretty much across the country.
Right.
She's doing her best, including sitting between two ferns with a very funny guy with some hard questions. Watch this.
What happens if you become pregnant? Are we going to be stuck with Tim Kaine for 9 months? How does this work?
I could send you some pamphlets that might help you understand.
Are you down with TPP?
I'm not down with TPP.
No, you're supposed to say, yeah, you know me. Like the hip-hop group.
Don't tell me what to say.
Any regrets over losing the Scott Baio vote?
Not a one.
So it wasn't heartbreaking that...
No.
Yeah, but Chachi. What's the best way to reach you? Email?
If looks could kill. She seems to be a good sport there.
Well, you know, she's a good sport. Really, the woman, if she's a good sport, she should be out campaigning. This was time so that she could get 3... Why? Because, first of all, she's not up to the job. She doesn't have the stamina. What she's doing is she's got these 3 days off to prepare for the debate, and this was time so that this would get the attention it needed to get while, you know, Donald Trump is out there meeting with people, tens of thousands at a clip, and, you know, she figures she'll get the attention through this.
I think Donald Trump would be great on this. However, the producer came out and said that Donald Trump doesn't have, as his too thin a skin to
and
do
he
it.
hasn't invited him.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't invited him. I mean, thin skin. I mean, the guy, no nobody would be able to mess my hair up on national television.
Yeah,
but
DC tried it once. You hit him.
Huh? Did you try it? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you didn't try it. I mean, it's kind of hard at this point.
By the way, we should also point out the thing between the two ferns was actually taped on the day it was announced that she had, I think the day she was diagnosed with pneumonia.
Yeah, she didn't look too good there either. You know, she hasn't looked too good lately. She looks very low energy. It's almost a Jeb Bush thing going on with Hillary.
Right. Well, let's see how she looks on Monday, because she's going to be out in public that night.
Oh, she'll be fired up, I'm sure. She'll have 4 days of rest. It's like a vacation.
We're going to be watching you this weekend.
Yes, on Justice this weekend, I go to Modell's. You know, all this issue about Hillary and her health and the age of the presidential candidates. I went to Modell's to find out what people think about whether or not our candidates are in good health.
Gotta go to Moe's. We watch a lot of commercials.
Yeah. All right.
Judge, thank
you Saturday night.
That's right. All right, let's hand it over to Heather, who has some headlines for us.
I certainly do. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Let's start out in Washington, D.C. right now. We're getting justice for victims of terror attacks. And there is now a rare showdown between Nancy Pelosi and President Obama. The House Minority Leader joining a bipartisan effort to override a pending presidential veto of a 9/11 bill that would allow victims' families of the 9/11 terror attacks to sue Saudi Arabia for its alleged involvement in planning the terror attacks. The president has until midnight to veto that bill. It would be the first congressional veto override ever for President Obama. A big story. We'll follow that one throughout the day. Here in New York, leaders around the world gathering at the UN in the city, but the Prime Minister of Israel says it is all a big joke. Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the UN, begun as a moral force, has become a moral farce.
Wow. Benjamin Netanyahu criticizing the United Nations for what he describes as its obsessive bias against Israel. He called the UN General Assembly a disgrace and the UN Human Rights Council a joke. Well, parents on edge this morning after an elementary school student tests positive for leprosy. When's the last time you heard of leprosy? The school in Southern California stressing that other students are not in danger, but nevertheless that district taking precautions, decontaminating classrooms, and educating parents about that bacterial disease. We're told it's easily treated with antibiotics. The child who is infected is expected to be okay. And just 2 minutes away from the hospital, a dad jumping into action when his daughter decides that she is ready to be born.
Oh, the baby's coming out.
Okay.
The baby's coming out. What I do? The head is already out. All the head is already out.
It's coming out. Well, before he knew it, his daughter making her debut in the passenger seat of their SUV on the side of the highway in Texas.
It's okay, baby. It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, baby. It's okay, mommy. It's okay. It's okay. You're out already, mommy. You're out. It's okay, baby. Yeah.
You're doing a really good job. Listen carefully, and I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
He sure did do a great job. That new proud dad joked that they should name the baby Happy, Healthy Toyota. Toyota, because I guess that's the car that they were in. They decided to go with Julietta instead, which is a beautiful name. Congratulations to that couple and that beautiful little girl.
No offense, but I think, he did a good job, but it's really the woman that deserves all the credit.
Right?
I mean,
no medicine either.
But they helped
And the
one
dispatcher.
another calm. It was a team effort.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
All right, Heather,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.
Well, a third night of unrest on the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina. Protesters flat out ignoring the midnight curfew. So what's being done about that? North Carolina Governor and former Charlotte Mayor Pat McCrory joins us live next.
And he's turned his faith into Grammy-nominated music.
So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are.
I have that song downloaded on my phone, and I love it. Look who's in our green room. Crowder has a brand new album dropping this morning, and he is here to perform.
Fox News alert as you wake up today. Hundreds of demonstrators last night filled the streets of Charlotte for yet another night of protest, ignoring a midnight to 6 a.m. curfew and shutting down a highway, that one right there, chanting for the release of the dash cam and body cam footage of the shooting of Keith Scott.
We want the tank! We want the tank! We want the tank! We want the tank!
Joining us now with the latest is the former mayor of Charlotte and the current North Carolina governor, Pat McCrory. Thank you so much for being with us, Governor.
Thank you for having me.
Is that tape ever going to be released to all of us?
Well, let me first say that I am so proud of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and I'm also very proud of our National Guard that I thought did an outstanding job last night under very, very difficult circumstances. And I want to also thank many of the community leaders and neighborhood and faith leaders who stopped confrontation between the Guard and the police and frankly, some anarchists who want to cause just damage and harm to our state and our nation. And it was a team effort under very trying circumstances where you have 300 protesters on national TV, on 3 networks, total coverage, cameras everywhere. And I'm proud of the community, I'm proud of the state, the way we handled a national issue that just happens to be on camera in our state at this point in time.
We definitely support law enforcement. But what about the tape? Are we going to be able to see that soon?
I hope we get to see that soon, but there's one dilemma, and that is the constitutional rights of our police officer. And both the police chief and the Mecklenburg DA feel very strongly that during an ongoing criminal investigation, that the police officer also has protection of evidence, and so a fair trial could be heard. So we're going through that process. That's one reason we changed the state law toward on October 1st, which is to take the politics out of the release of videos and let a judge determine the balance between the community's right to know versus the constitutional protection of the criminal process. Because this is a criminal investigation right
Governor,
now.
have you seen the tape?
No, and I'm not going to watch the tape. We've got enough people watching. I'm going to let the criminal justice system do their job and keep the politics out of it as much as possible.
But they did. The law enforcement did say, hey, he had a gun, and this is what we did, and I'm happy with what I saw. So they are weighing in.
Yeah, that's one reason I'm not going to weigh in. I'm going to let the judicial process proceed out of respect for the, again, most of us would love for the tape to get out as soon as possible, but we do have to respect the constitutional process, especially of the police officer there is a criminal investigation right now.
Indeed.
And we have to take that extremely seriously, not just for this police officer, but all police officers that go through this process, or we're going to lose their confidence also.
Governor, you mentioned politics. A politician, now he's a politician. Donald Trump apparently, well, he tweeted out, spoke with Governor McCrory of North Carolina. He's doing a tremendous job under tough circumstances. What else did you all talk about?
We actually talked about, listen, I've had a very positive conversation with both Donald Trump and with the president, both yesterday, and I explained the situation to both Mr. Trump and the president in explaining the dynamics that are occurring. I told them both that we have some anarchists who do not have legitimate reason to protest. We have other protests that are doing an incredible job of expressing their viewpoint, which needs to be heard. And I'm also told them about the courage of our police officers and our National Guard.
All right. Governor McCrory, thank you very much. We know you got your hands full down there this week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, coming up, do you need a pick-me-up this morning? If so, here you go.
So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are.
Coming up next, Christian singer Crowder is going to perform a song from their new album. It's called Run, Devil, Run.